Hi, this is Scott with Michigan Pools and with Andy Gothier, and we're here to talk about maintenance. Maintenance is this month, and we've got a lot of great stuff on there. Funny article from Glenn, and Andy's going to talk a little bit about why we do a small bit of maintenance to our probes.
Any of the controllers that are out there all have the part per million, chlorine, and ORP probes. They collect oil. When the oil gets on it, they get dirty. They don't pick up the right signals. So you're going to have to clean them periodically. To do that, you're going to shut off the inlet, the outlet to the probe cell, undo the jam nuts, pull out the probes, and when you're done, look to make sure there's nothing stuck on the end. You can use a little soap and water and a toothbrush to try to get out anything in there, get the oil off of it. After you're done cleaning it with soap and water, rinse the probe back off with water. Slide the probe back into the cell. And when you're doing this, you're going to have to flush this for a little while. So when you do that, shut your controller off, and when you put the probe back in, you're going to open up the lines and let it flush for about 20 minutes before you turn your controller back on. Because when you've cleaned them, everything's going to be out of calibration. So after it's about 20 minutes, turn the controller back on, test your water, balance it, and then calibrate your controller.
And you say like 20 minutes, so 20 minutes and these should go back to normal calibration?
Anything that you've put on the end, either any of the soap, anything that may have an acidic base to it, it'll finally wash off, and it's going to be back to a normal reading of the water that's coming through the cell.
And if you clean it, because you're not getting proper readings on your control or your strand or whatever, and you put it back in, possibly a bad probe.
Could be a bad probe. We can also come out with a tester, and we can actually check the signal that these are getting, especially the pH probe. It'll tell us how far off it is from the true water coming by. We can put it into a sample of 7.5, and with a meter we can find out how bad the probes are. There's also a date code on every probe, so you can tell how old it was.
Yeah, so, and this is a PPM. This is not one that you would do something like this to.
No, you can't. The part per million probe is a true part per million. It actually is connected up to this Chemtrol, and it'll do part per million. There is a membrane on the end that's non-cleanable. The only thing you could possibly do is, after a year or so, if you find that it's not picking up the right reading, is you would shut off the controller, close off the sample cell, and remove the probe. Inside there, you'd pull out a membrane, put a new membrane and a new gel on it, put the new membrane on it, slide it back in, and turn it back on. And the flow meter only has to be halfway up, so it's got a very small amount of water going through it. But
See, it's kind of interesting because we've got like 770 millivolts with a 2.9 reading, so these things are pretty accurate.
They're within about a tenth.
Really?
One way or the other, yeah.
All right, well, it's maintenance at Michigan Pool News. Any questions, always give us a call. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for viewing.
Thanks.
He wants that delayed pause at the end so he knows when to cut it, he told me.